afternoon, one and all. I, Joshua Jacob of 8A and Nature Club Ambassador, welcome our respected principal, Reverend Dr. Shantan Cherwal, Honorable Speaker of the Day, Sri Thomas Augustine, AGM, State Bank of India, Honorable Bursar, Reverend Father Kushi Chirkrut, respected PMI functionaries and volunteers, our patrons, well-wishers, parents, teachers, non-teaching staff, Nature Club ambassadors, and Savam Organic Project participants. A warm welcome to the first webinar on home gardening, organized by PMI Kerala and powered by Nature Club at SCB as part of Savam Organic Home Garden Project. Sri Thomas Augustine, Assistant General Manager and Head of GOC, State Bank of India, is the right person to encourage and guide us on organic home gardening. A banker by profession and a farmer by passion, Sri Thomas started gardening primarily at his office premises. 25 grow bags marked the humble beginning and had now grown up to more than 200 plus plants. Similarly, she had proved that if you are serious about pursuing your passion, space is not a constraint. Staying in one of the apartments in Trivandrum, Sri Thomas set an example for other flat dwellers on how to have a garden even in a limited space of an apartment. Today, Sir is here to share with us his hands-on experience in gardening and encourage us to have our home garden. Sri Thomas Augustine is also a functionary of the Project Management Institute, PMI, Kerala. Sir, please.
Thanks, Joshua. First of all, let me wish each one of you a very happy new year. Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, you are.
Okay, fine. Wishing everybody a very happy new year. I should thank PMI for giving me this opportunity to make this presentation. Like in the introduction, they mentioned, by profession, I'm a banker. I'm a technical person, but I always had this passion for gardening since my childhood. And we started in a small way in the office, like in the introduction they have told, with 20-25 grow bags. Today we have roughly around 200, and it's purely organic. So when I say purely organic, I should take you all along today's 1 hour journey into how we can utilize our small space into the gardening, using all what is most of them locally available with us. As the journey started, we did some purchases from the Agro Bazaar and then marketing and other vegetable fertilizers and all that. But slowly we shifted. That was organic fertilizers what we purchased. But slowly now we have turned entirely, I can say around 80 to 90% of the fertilizers are coming from the homes itself. A lot of things what we waste at home, we throw it off, can be utilized as fertilizers and pesticides. So let's start our journey today. I think congratulate all the 200 plus students of Sarvodaya for being part of this initiative. I also thank the principal and all the stakeholders who are encouraging the students, the little farmers. Surely the passion and the interest they show today will go a long way in our own produce, so that we have, if not a fully non-pesticide food, I think at least what we grow at our home, it will be a big benefit to us. It will also encourage the children, the family members who come in touch with them, their friends, when they see what they are producing at their flat or in the small space they're available, the others also will get encouraged. Let me tell you that when we started this in my office, we three or four of us started. Now there are at least 10 to 12 people who are started farming in their flat with small plants like tomatoes, chili, then what do you call spinach, chira, and then what do you call mint leaf. So all that small things which you can grow in your home space, and that will give you a lot of satisfaction. So welcome to Home Gardening in the Small Space, promoted by PMI and Sarvodaya. Let me first make a confession that I am not a professional gardener. It's all by learning, making mistakes, creating some blunders, then put some creativity, and that's the way we go forward. So I will encourage each one of you, all the students and who are participating, who want to go into gardening, don't be disheartened by the failures you have. It will be all a learning experience. It also brings out a lot of creativity in you, and we can do a lot of things without spending much of your money. And I think you will, as you go along, you will see that you can do a lot of things without spending much of, much of the money you have, or you need not depend upon your parents for a lot of money for your gardening purpose. Right. So starting a vegetable garden at home is a very rewarding experience. There's just something incredible about eating the food you grow itself. Now, when you grow your plant, when the tomato, the flower come, there is the happiness in your face. When the flower turns into a small bird, then later on it becomes a fruit. You really cherish that moments, whether it's a chili or a brinjal or any flower. I mean, it can be any flower also. And moreover, what you're going to have, it will be healthier, more natural. It makes a sense that some edibles, if you grow in the garden, in vegetable flowers look pretty, and it's also a great exercise. You don't spend a lot of money on it, and you are very close to nature. That's the best part of gardening. I don't know how many of you have seen the real tomato plants, or for that matter, other than going to the market and buying these fruits and vegetables. Many of you would not even have seen these plants coming up. I'll just quote an example at my home. In my home, when I first started, I put my tomatoes and chili, and I had ladyfinger and brinjal. The 4 plants, vegetable plants, I bought home from my office. With due, my children are intelligent, they are grown up. Let me tell you that even they had never seen a tomato coming up in a plant. They had never seen a brinjal in a plant, because that is the environment in which we are being brought up today, we are living today. I think when you start looking gardening, there are a lot of people around you who will come around and see these plants, and they'll be happy. Oh, this is the way the tomatoes are grown. This is the way the brinjal is grown. This is the way the ladyfinger is grown. And let me assure you that it will be a really fruitful experience. Now, as we are talking about the benefits of gardening for children, let's look at a few benefits what we can derive from this gardening itself. Okay, we have a sense of love for nature. We start respecting nature. We're all talking of the green effect and the environmental pollution. I think we'll have a love for the nature itself. Then there'll be a benefit of responsibility. We're going to have the responsibility of the children. We are going to take care. We are going to take care of the plants. We are going to take care that the plants are not infected. We see that the plants grow we see that if something, some attacks are there on the plant, how do we rectify it? And so there is a sense of responsibility for the children when they take care of it. There's a creativity concept in it. When you see that the plants are falling down of the height, or the plant is not leaning properly, you will have your own creativity ideas to put the putting the plant back into space. Like I told before, the children will get introduced to different types of plant. I think right now, PMI has provided you 5 seeds. Many of you would have already started with it. Many would have having still the seeds with you. You will see how the seeds grow into plants, and how this growing, how the evolving process takes place, how the seeds grow into seedlings, then it becomes plant, then it fructifies. Children become more active because right now many of the children, why children, even grown-ups are now addicted to TV and your mobile phones and tabs and all that. So when you have these plants coming up, you will have a natural tendency to shift away from all these electronic devices to these plants. This also develops the mental development. Like we told you, when you take responsibility, you see different stages, when you see evolving process, this changes the mental attitude of the child. The child becomes more caring. The child becomes more helpful. The child becomes more sharing with this thing to others, sharing ideas with their neighbors. They'll also understand what is nutrition, how these plants are going to benefit them, the health and wellness, and also develop the sensory benefits of the children. The smelling of the sand, the fertilizers, the new flowers, the smell of the fruits. So all this will be great benefit to you, all of you. It also helps the hand-to-eye coordination because you will be putting you're playing with mud, you're playing with fertilizers, you're playing with household waste. It also feels the physical strength when you go around the garden, you start carrying the baggages, and you become more active, you become hardworking. I think there are a lot of benefits out of gardening. These are only a small portion of what we have touched, but there are much more to gardening than what I'm just telling you right now. Now, as we're told that, let's start off with how to go about doing the first steps. Some of you would have already prepared it. Some of you would have the parents who are active into gardening, would have guided you. The seeds what has been given by PMI to you all. If you look at this, there are tomato, chili, katri, commonly known as brinjal, venda, which is ladyfinger, putipayar, which is the cowpea. So we have got 5, and all these plants are which can be easily grown either in your balcony or outside your balcony where you have got sunshine. One thing you have to be very careful about vegetable gardening is that it requires sunshine. So you'll have to be careful that you have this sunshine. So how do you prepare these seeds so that they start germinating? Okay. Throughout the process, we'll try to be eco-friendly. We'll try to see that we have less and less of what do you call non-biodegradable things. We'll have papers, or as far as possible, we'll try to upcycle whatever we have got with us. You can make small paper rolls, fill them up with mud, a little bit of cocoa peat, and you can put tomato seedlings into that. So preferably what we can do is the tomato seedlings, or any seedling for that matter, you can put it in water overnight. If it is a small seeds, all what you have given is all small seeds. You can put overnight, say 4 to 5 hours in water, so that the seedling just loosens up, and then you can put it in loosen sand. So when I say sand, it should be sand and cocoa peat. If you don't have cocoa peat also, is no problem. Like I told you, we will try to use whatever is available at your home. So that you can cover it in a small cloth. So after one day, you will see that this seeds will start, the saplings will start coming up. Once that comes up, you can make small paper roll. Small paper rolls you can make it and put some sand into it and put the seeds into that. Once you put the seeds into that, it will take, so what you can put in a small cardboard box, put all these paper covers. And I mean, when I say paper roll, it's not cover, we are just rolling it just like a glass container. You roll it up and make it in a shape where you can put the seeds into that. So after it is ready for 4 or 5 days, you will see that the seedlings will start, the shoots will start coming up. So once around 3 or 4 leaves are ready, it will be ready for transporting it into your grow bags. Now, how do you prepare a grow bag? Now, when we say grow bag, it automatically comes as it is not a biodegradable item. But sometimes we need to use this. Otherwise, at your home itself, you can do some upcycling of your household waste. Like if you have got oil containers of 5 liter or even a 2 liter plastic bags what are coming, the 5 kg rice bags are there. So this all can be utilized instead of a grow bag which is available in the market. So you'll be upcycling whatever household waste you have got. So in this grow bag, what is ideally required is the first layer what you put is green leaves and dry leaves. So that will remain the portion so that it can be kept at the bottom of the grow bag. Then we have say 1/3 portion of a soil, 1/3 portion of a cocoa peat, and 1/3 portion of vermicompost, or alternatively you can have powdered dry leaf or neem cake powder, a mix of all that so that the soil. See, the basic purpose is that your grow bag should be lightweight. You don't fill completely with soil. So when you put cocoa peat or vermicompost, which you may have to buy from outside, soil, I think you need not go and buy from the agro bazaar or the horticulture society. You can just note down these 2 places where the best place I found was the Kerala Horticulture Society office behind the Kanagondu Palace. I found it comparatively cheaper and better quality. Otherwise, those who are staying near the East Fort can go to Agro Bazaar or any other shops for that matter. But I prefer going to Kerala Agriculture Society because I found it cheaper and I got good quality products from there. And it's definitely cheaper than Agro Bazaar also. So, but like I told, soil, if you are able to manage soil from somewhere nearby, it definitely worth it. Cocoa peat, of course, will be difficult for you all to even make it at home. So you can buy a small portion. So either at a sharing basis, 2 or 3 people can join and buy one sack or something like that, and that will take care. So basically, the idea is that you keep the grow bag light and try to upcycle as far as possible. And when your seedlings are of say 4 to 5 inches, having around 4 leaves had already come up, along with that paper bag, you can make a small hole in the grow bag and you can plant it off. Right. So your grow bag will be ready. And whatever tools are required normally, like I told you, I will always suggest that you find out some creative way of creating your own tools at home. Suppose you want something to toil your, say, the grow bag, you want to loosen up the soil. You can use your old plastic bottles, cut it off from the side, and you can make a small shawl out of it. So that way, you can do a lot of upcycling of the waste you have at home. So once that is ready, now growing vegetables is not like you will get it in a week, you'll be ready. It also teach you a lot of patience, how to take care of it. So once the grow bag is ready, then you need to do, like I told you, you need sunlight. You need to do watering. The watering has to be done probably if your flat is facing the sun, you may have to do 2 times a day. Now remember, we are putting all the soil in a grow bag. So there is a limitation of the water that the grow bag can hold. You should not overwater it also so that the water starts seeping down the grow bag. A max of 1 cup of water, morning and evening, will suffice. But the problem is, you need to take care so that your grow bag is not dry. Always there has to be a moist environment in the grow bag, because the roots will require constant water. And even if you don't water for 1 day, your plant will start dying off. So you have to be very careful that morning and evening, you'll have to keep a watch over it. You'll have to keep a watch on the soil. You'll have to keep a watch on the plants. Slowly you will come to know how the plants are behaving. It'll be like you're talking to the plants. You will know that the plant is dying off or is not showing signs of growth, and then you may need to do things. Once in a while, like I told you, you'll have to loosen up the soil. But when you loosen up the soil, be careful that you don't harm the roots. Because all these plants, all the seedlings, what you've seen, the tomato, the ladyfinger, the chili, the cowpea, these are all got fibrous roots. So it will be running around the grow bag. So you have to be very careful when you do the loosening up of the soil. You have to be very careful about it. Now, long time back when I was seeing it, I was seeing a TV show. There was a show on the gardening. So there was one person who had raised this question. He says, I have planted this plant, but it is not giving fruits. So the host who was conducting this asked one question: what do you do for the plant? So he says, I put water. He says, what else? No, water I put in the morning also, I put in the evening also. So the host asked that person who had posed this question, what do you have in the morning? He says, I have morning breakfast, then you have lunch, you have dinner. So similarly, plants also require fertilizers for growth. Now, a lot of fertilizers are available in the market. They are too costly. If you are able to afford, we can buy them. But the point is, even if you are able to afford, if all these sources are available in our own home, why can't we use it? A word of caution for the children: you may find some resistance from your mother, right? Because they will not allow you to touch this banana peel, onion peel, orange peel, the tea waste, the eggshell after the omelette. We like to have omelette, but once that omelette is over, then you can't touch the eggshell. So what is fertilizer? All the plants basically require nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. Okay, and they need some more calcium and some other ingredients what they require. If you look at some of the things what I have listed down. Now let me tell you, these are all which I am using for my office garden as well as for my home garden. Right. So these are not just for the presentation, which is I'm using this actually. Like I told you, there is a resistance from my wife also. Sometimes she tells, what all this waste you are using? So you have eggshell. The eggshell powder, I collect all the eggshells after my wife makes the omelette, whenever is there. So probably after a week or 10 days, I take this, put it in the mixie. Just a few minutes of grinding gives me a good source of calcium for my plants. I just put it on the soil and just mix it off. You have banana peel. Banana peels, we normally throw it off. It goes into the kitchen waste. It's a rich source of potassium, phosphorus and calcium. What we do is banana peels, we can just cut it off, cut it into small pieces and just put it in the soil. Or you can also put it in a mixie, put a little water, make a juice out of it and pour it in the garden. You got onion peel, which is a rich source of potassium, sulfur, phosphorus, quercetin, nitrogen, mineral substance, spunnions, zinc, vitamins, iron, iodine, and flavonoids. Now, all the plants require all these fertilizers. Onion peel again, for us it's a waste, but for plants it's a rich source of fertilizers, vitamins, potassium. Orange peel. Now, this is another source which normally we throw it off, we never use it. It's a good source of nitrogen. Tea leaves is a good source of nitrogen again. So all that morning tea or evening tea, after the tea, when the tea dust waste is there, the tea leaves, if the sugar is put into it, I suggest that you wash that tea leaf and use a tea leaf. Because if you use with sugar, ants can attack your plant. So if you're using the tea leaf with sugar, you wash it. Otherwise, you can use the tea leaves. What happens when your mother prepares boiled egg for your egg curry? Or she boils vegetables for your fruit, for your home preparations. The rice water, which is cooked. All these are good source of fertilizers for your plants. Like you've seen the top, what you've seen? You've seen banana, onion, orange, tea. Or similarly, all these vegetables also have got contents of NPK in them. So when you boil, large quantity of these nutrients are available in the water. A word of caution, see that whatever water you're using from the kitchen is cooled, so that you don't put hot water into the grow bag. Hot water can spoil the roots of the plants. And then you have bone meal, which normally purchased. Similarly, there are other fertilizers which are available in the market. But like I told you, you are doing home gardening, you are doing organic. One more point we need to keep in mind is minimizing the expenditure. That also is part of the organic gardening. So be careful of what we are doing. Spend less and get more productivity out of that. Okay, then, like I told you before, when you are having plants, you are going to have attacks also. Gardening is not a rosy picture. If you need good produce, nature has its own way of getting things done. So what we need to do is we need to be careful. Like I told you before, you need to be attentive to your plants, and you will find small insects attacking your plants. Even in your flat also. Don't think that you are staying in a flat, so these insects will not come. Including flat, there are insect attacks. Here I have just mentioned two. One is the mealybug and one is the ampid, which are very common in chili, tomatoes, and in your cowpeas. So rest assured that these plants are going to attack your vegetable gardening. So vegetable gardening is not something rosy. where you can just plant it, put some fertilizers, and think that now let the flower come and I'll have the fruits. Your patience will be tested when you're going to see this. And if you don't take care of these aphids and mealybugs and other insects which are going to attack your plants will die off. And it will cut a very sorry figure and you will feel disappointed. So what is the best way is take care of your plant. Be around your plant at least once in a day. And during watering, it is not just watering. It is taking care of the plants, taking care under the leaf, on the stems, because these are small things which you think that it are only dust. It is not dust. These are all insects which are attacking your plants. And they look so harmless, you will not know. What they actually do is, they are sucking the pulp from the leaf and the stem. And slowly, the leaf and the stem dies off. So we have pesticide. The moment we talk of pesticide, we think of pesticides which are available in the market. Now let us look at some pesticides which we can make at home itself. Now we have got some oil-based pesticide. Now how do you make it? Now all these are available at your home. You need not go out anywhere. You can prepare at home. You take 2 tablespoons of soap. When I say soap, it can be your dishwasher, Pril, or whatever you are using. It could be any dishwasher or a soap or a washing soap. You just, if it is a solid soap, just scrap it and dissolve in water. You take a cup of cooking oil and 1 cup of water. Right. So you mix the soap and the oil into a bowl. Now why we use soap normally is that soap normally diffuses the oil. Otherwise oil, if you put in the water, oil and water will remain separate. So when you put soap and oil together, the oil will get disintegrated and it will get mixed up with the soap. And take 3 tablespoons of this mixture, add a cup of water and have a spray. Shake it well and attack the bug infestation. Wherever it is affecting, wherever the bug is there, under the leaf, you can just spray it off. And you don't require, since you're all in a flat, you may have at the max of say 5 or 6 grow bag, or if you go beyond that, say up to 10 grow bag. So you need not buy heavy quantity of fertilizers. Small quantity of this will do. 3 tablespoons, a cup of water, spray it, and whatever excess is left, use it later on. Spray all over any bugs and pests you see. Make sure you spray on both sides of the leaf and cover the bugs and eggs as the best as you can. Right. Normally what we do, when we always stand and spray. We never bend and spray. We always spray on the top of the leaf because we want to see a glossy picture. But these bugs and insects which will always be hiding underneath the leaf. So you need to lift the leaf or the fruit slowly and spray. So this is one pesticide which is oil based. Like I talk of orange. Oranges are also good pesticide. Other than using as fertilizer. So all the oranges what you have at home. Now I have put one cover in my work area. So whoever have oranges in my house need to go and put the peels there. So you get it oranges, cut it into small pieces, 2 cups of water, and again like I told, 1 tablespoon of dishwashing liquid or a soap. What we do, we place the bowl, all these peels in a bowl, put boiling water into it so that all this juice of the orange peels come out, and we soak it for 24 hours. Morning what we do, we'll strain the liquid, put in the spray bottle, add a little of dishwashing soap liquid. Now why we add dishwashing liquid is another is that this water normally when you spray, it flows around all over the stem. But when it's a dishwasher, it has a capacity to get stuck to the portion where it is there. So it will remain there. And this is really a fantastic pesticide for soft bodies like mealybugs and aphid. Because this will remain there and will kill these mealybugs and aphid. So your orange peel can be used as a fertilizer and as well as a pesticide.
Sure.
Right. Then you have got papaya leaf. If you're able to manage to get papaya leaf, we can use a papaya leaf. So if you have got some friend's house or some neighbors who have got papaya, you don't need much of a papaya leaf. One large papaya leaf or a small papaya leaf, you chop into small pieces and put in a glass of water and let it soak overnight. So morning, what you'll do is you can take garlic. Now garlic also is a good source where it is a repellent for pesticide. I mean for the insects. The garlic is a very good repellent for insects. You can put some chopped garlic into it. After 12 hours, mix it with water, squeeze the juice. And when you take 1 glass of papaya extract, sieve it, and then you need to add, either you can use plain water or you can use what you call the rice water, what we call the kanji vellam, which is normally thrown off. That also is a good source for your fertilizer. You can mix it with that, and this can be sprayed on the inspected area. This, even if you put once in a week, it will keep all these insects away. Like I told you, we are talking of pesticide. It is always best that we start using the pesticide after the tree starts growing a little big. Don't wait for the plant to get infected. It is always that prevention is better than cure. So how to prevent? Start using this pesticide. If you see, all the pesticides we are talking about are all also fertilizers. So when you spray on the plant, it acts as a fertilizer as well as a pesticide. So it will keep the infection away. Now, since you're most of them are on your flats or your own houses, any fertilizer or any pesticide what you use on the plants should ideally be used when it is not raining, because otherwise the effort what you put there will flow with the rainwater. And ideally it should be done in the early morning, say by 6 or 7, before the sun is too bright, or in the evening around 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, so that you don't have much of a sunlight. Now, like all these pesticides are good remedy for pests like aphids, white flies, which are found in peas, tomatoes, turning the flowers yellow. So it's very good when you're doing this. Now, like I started before, when we started this program, it will take time for your plants to fructify. And that's a time when we're very happy about all your efforts, all your care, all the patience you have shown will start fructifying. Now that takes roughly around, if you look at this chart given here, this is only roughly what I've given. It may start a bit early or a few days delay. But tomatoes will start, say, around 3 to 4 months. Ladyfinger around 2 months. Others are all 2 months to 30 days. And chili also roughly around, it takes around 120 days. So around 3 to 4 months. But let me tell you, 3 to 4 months when you do the gardening, it flies off very fast. In my office, now it's more than 1.5, 2 years we started this. Even when we think of planting something and somebody says, you say it's 4 months, it becomes so casual for us. Oh, 4 months will just fly away. Because that is the time we are putting into it. We don't put much of a time, not during office hours. A few of us start around 6:30 in the morning, and by around 8:15 we wind up our gardening in the office. And then we have the home gardening also. So it's really a great experience when you're doing this. If you look at my office, it's also a team building exercise where all the people who are coming there are a set of people who will do the harvesting. I've got lady staff in my office, so they can't come in the morning. So all the harvesting jobs have been given to them. So in the afternoon during lunch, they'll come and do the harvesting. So it's an exercise where they'll go around that, they get exposure to the sunlight. Otherwise, you're working in AC environment. So there are a lot of plus points when you're doing a gardening. I think I've tried to cover as much as possible. Like I started off saying that it's a small way of doing it. I'm not an expert in gardening. We just like by trial and error, with a lot of people giving advice, looking up to the net. If you find something strange is happening to my plant, go Google it out, find out how new things can be done, how new pesticides can be created. In my office, we have also started vermicomposting. So there are a few people who bring all the kitchen waste there and put it into the drum there. So I think that also can be done in your home. I think the corporation is giving a lot of incentives and freebies for vermicomposting. You can check up with your local contact persons how that can be done. I think that's a short way of giving my experience as a passionate, what do you call, gardener. And like in the introduction they have told, I have one balcony, and then I have taken up the space regarding, near the lift and that area. And I have roughly around, say in my home itself, around 150 to 150 plus pots of varieties of plants, which I normally pick from somewhere, sometimes on the roadside, sometimes in the front house, or from somebody who will come and give it to me. And in my flat itself, we also started something known as a community community gardening, where a few of us have joined together and we are using the terrace and the area around for gardening. So if you are staying in a flat, I think once you start this gardening, you can talk to your friends in your flat or to your secretary and president of your flat, and you can think about doing this. There, it will build up a community sharing within your flat itself. Otherwise, what I normally find is once you enter your flat room, the front door is closed, and then you get up only if you want to go out if you're going to the market, and then come back again, shut off yourself in a shell. But after when this has come up, a few of the family members have now come out and they are mingling up. I think as children, it will be your responsibility to also foster a kind of community building within your flats if you're staying in a flat. I think parents have their own shut mindset. We do apologize to the parents, but I think the children are the source where the future community has to be built up. And this pandemic, I know many of the children are shut in the houses. I think when you start gardening and start this thing, I think it's time we come out of our shell, take protective measures, but we need to get engaged with people around us. Thank you. I don't know how I'll be able to justify my presentation, but I have tried to share what I do in my office and in my house. I'm not an expert in agriculture. I'm not an expert in fertilizers and pesticide. Like I told you, just experimenting and taking life forward. Thank you and have a great day.
Thank you, sir.
Any doubts you can ask us?
Probably if anybody got any questions, they can ask Thomas sir before we.
Yeah. If they have doubts, you may ask, dear children.
You can unmute yourself and then ask questions. You can share the questions in the chat box also.
Okay, as if now I don't see anyone is up to the doubt. So I call for
Okay, now
Archa for.
how many how many of you have started doing this gardening at your home?
Sir, I have a. Can I ask?
Yeah, sure.
Sir, at what stage, after reaching how much height should we separate and plant it?
See, the thumb rule is that 4 leaves. Once the saplings rise, you have the first 2 leaves, then you have the second 2. So probably 4 inches, 4 to 5 inches, you can start. And in one grow bag, you can put 2 plants actually. In one grow bag, you can put 2. If you have got a smaller grow bag, you can put 1 plant. Otherwise, you can put 2 tomato, 2 chilies.
Okay, sir.
Sir,
I think that Anne Jacob has told that he's got kind of some fluffy fungus. It's a black fungus.
no, it's white.
Yeah, white. So white means it is a mealy bug. Okay. So what you can do, like I told you, you can see either you can have a neem oil with soap. You can mix it and spray it off. Otherwise, like I told you, you can use the orange peel. If you are, I think all your children have oranges. I think you have fresh oranges, and the peel you throw it off. So that onion peel, I'm sorry, this peel or a ginger garlic, sorry, not ginger, garlic paste, put in oil and spray it here. Right. Like I showed you on the pesticide, I think the slide will be shared with you. This fluffy fungus is actually, it's a mealy bug. It will suck the sap out of your plant, and your leaves will become yellow after some time. That is because it is not getting the nutrition. So what you should do is you should put the pesticide every alternate days. Like we see, this is not a pesticide which is non-organic, it's an organic. So it will also act as a fertilizer also, right?
Thank you.
Welcome. So there's a question that whether it is useful pesticide bought from the market. Now, depending upon what kind of pesticide you are buying the market, is it organic? I suggest is please use pesticide like I told you. All the things are available at your home, right? So these pesticides are available at your home within in your kitchen. The only thing is you'll have to ask your mom to cooperate with you, and you start giving the waste to you, right? I have a problem with my wife, like I told you. She has a problem giving me the waste because she throws it directly in the basket. Now I have to go and get it out of the basket. So you can use that. But if at all you're going to buy the pesticide from the market, please ensure that it is an organic pesticide. Right? The whole purpose of the vegetable gardening at home is to have a pesticide-free vegetables.
Anyone else with that? Okay. I call upon Archa for the vote of thanks.
Good afternoon, one and all. I, Arsha Ashok of 9E and Nature Club Ambassador, is privileged to propose a vote of thanks. On behalf of all Sarvodaya Central Vidyalaya, Sarvam Organic Home Garden participants, the Nature Club ambassadors, and Nature Club at SCV, I thank Sri Thomas Augustine for his acumen to combine his own experience to make us understand the topic. Sir, I thank you for your enlightening address.
Welcome, dear.
I thank our principal, Reverend Dr. Shandan Cherivil, respected Bursar, Reverend Father Koshi Cherkarot, and Ms. Usha Nair, in charge Nature Club at SCV, for organizing this webinar. I express our gratitude to Project Management Institute, PMI Kerala, for supporting us in this project. I thank all the functionaries and volunteers of PMI, our patrons, well-wishers, teachers, parents, non-teaching staff, Nature Club ambassadors, and Sarvam Organic Project participants for attending this webinar.